So let's talk training. One of the things that I personally find fantastic about Keller Williams is that you're never short of topics to learn and improve. You know, coming into a business like this, you have to be learning based. You have to be willing to break old habits. You know, it could be that you've been one of the most successful estate agents in the high street, and then you almost have to unlearn everything because you're looking at it from a different perspective as a business owner rather than just an estate agent as such. So one of the great things that Keller Williams provides is a whole host of different training, from running a business through to mindset, through to estate agency basics, you know, and there's a continuation of that. There's always something going on, and we're forever improving the quality in our delivery and the topics that we're covering. You know, estate agency, I feel like it's evolving, and a lot more people now are stepping into the world of a self-employed estate agent rather than employed. So, I mean, Andy, you've got many years of experience behind you, and I imagine you've attended quite a few training sessions. What would you say is the difference between training that we provide in Keller Williams versus other estate agents that you've worked within?
I think I'd even rewind it a little bit further and then think who needs the training first of all. So I can think of one person that had done estate agency for years, but in a online agency model. They knew how to do sales, however, they didn't really know how to pitch their own agency. So that'd be one. I think of another person that's done incredibly well with a background in lettings that just had never done sales. I think if you're going to come into this model, rather than being the high street agency where you've got sales on one side, lettings on the other, this is very much a case of do everything all at once, because why on earth would you meet a client tomorrow that is possibly teetering on the brink of do I sell or rent it and not be able to give them the full advice? So I think we kind of plug the gap sometimes in that respect. I can think of another brand that I worked for where I know this sounds absolutely ridiculous to even think of it, but even the regional manager didn't even know how to book a valuation on the system and had never booked valuation. Now, the company was brilliant in terms of they took that functionality out of the branch and put it in a head office. But it did mean that you had experienced agents with 10, 15 years that just didn't know how to lead generate. Put them in this model, and I'd probably be quite wary about taking anyone at all from that company because, great titles, but actually not a lot to it. And I think we do take people from all these kind of environments, look at their skill sets, and there's 40 years worth of training on the system to fit those kind of needs. I suppose with the difference in training, I think it's fit for purpose. So I can think of another company where the head trainer had never done a estate agency in her life, basically. And all of the training, so I went into that with years worth of experience, then listening to someone that had never done the job, and it was robotic, a lot of it was incorrect, and it was just textbook. So there was no, I think there was a lack of respect in that area. I remember another trainer at the same company who actively introduced himself on day one as I used to own my own estate agency for a very short amount of time. The business totally went under, and then I became a trainer. And I think those are the kind of things that actually are real life experiences of mine in estate agency. With Keller Williams, all of the courses are designed by estate agents, the people within the market centre that we're part of. The training is delivered by estate agents. And it's about following the model and looking at people that have run £1 million or $1 million plus businesses and saying, what have they done? How do I copy that? So rather than constantly reinvent the wheel, rather than be stale, I think there's also the international element to it in terms of this UK agency, but it's pretty arrogant to think that UK agency have just got it right, that there's nothing further that we can learn. So we're in over how many countries now? 55?
57.
57.
I believe.
Can't keep up.
Forever evolving.
Exactly. But so in 57 countries, and I suppose with that, you've got experience from all of those kind of different marketplaces. Things that they find across the board. I found some of the most interesting training going over to America, just seeing the kind of extra frills they did on the process. It was the same job, just done in a different way. So I think that's where it's different. So it's even if you've been on training course, then I think there's stuff that's fresh. If you are just experiencing one part of a state agency, then I think there's stuff that's fresh. Or even if you know all the parts of a state agency, the stuff, as you said earlier, on mindset and just running and owning a business.
Running your own business, that's very different from doing the job.
Exactly.